Severe weather sweeping across the South and now striking the Carolinas. Good morning and thank you for joining us for this WBTV News Now update. I'm Abby Tedros and right now we're under a first alert. Let's take a live look right now from the roads here in Charlotte from our Storm 3, and you can see that the conditions are looking slick. It doesn't seem as though there is too much rain coming down right now, but we do expect that to change as we enter the afternoon hours. Storm 3 driving along those roadways, and many of you are probably going to be traveling it today. Again, we are expecting that rain, potential thunderstorm impact as well. Meteorologist Al Conklin is tracking the storm from the First Alert Weather Center for us, and he's got a look at what's ahead.
Yeah, Abby, out there right now, as you mentioned, kind of a murky start to our day here now that we're into the later morning hours. And as we take a look at our camera from the University City area, as you mentioned, dampness on the streets, but not necessarily a lot of rain falling in and around the metro area. Now, that's a different story back to the west of us. We do have heavier downpours that are coming in now out of the mountains and now into the southern foothills. And again, as we track this, it'll all be pushing towards our part of the Piedmont as well. But right now, from Morganton on westward and down toward Logan, Forest City, coming into Mooresboro, coming into Shelby, getting into that rain, and there's been some lightning with these cells as well, but nothing severe right now. We don't have any watches or warnings. Lighter sprinkles here from Moxville down to Salisbury, Granite Quarry down to Albemarle, down US 52, all the way to Norwood and almost to Wadesboro. Now, as we widen this out a little bit, I want to show you this is what sort of changed in the last 18 hours or so. The National Weather Service, based on a lot of information coming in, has now sort of pared back that moderate risk for perhaps widespread or even stronger tornadoes to really the coastal plain from Fayetteville and Florence down to the beaches. Not so much in our viewing area. Now, that's not to say that we can let our guard down, because we still have thunderstorms already on the prowl, and they will be coming up from the south and west. And the environment will be at least marginally unstable enough to again generate some stronger downpours, some stronger thunderstorms, and perhaps even east of Charlotte, an isolated tornado or two can't be ruled out in this environment. Now, you'll also notice where the strong thunderstorms are. They're across North Florida and Georgia. And if you put that line sort of in motion, it really kind of goes east of our viewing area and is more of a focus for the eastern part of the Carolinas. That said, we still have some stronger showers and storms trying to develop here in North Georgia and the upstate of South Carolina. I'll get out of the way so you can see that. And there's lightning here. And again, as this all pushes northward and eastward along that frontal boundary, we'll be looking at the potential, particularly as we go deeper into the afternoon and we get that warmer air to come up. So right now, most of it is west of this line from Lenoir and Shelby on out towards Asheville and, as I said, Greenville, Spartanburg. But then as we get into the early afternoon hours, this is more in line with sort of a Charlotte metro area, and then perhaps by mid to late afternoon going east of the metro area. So this is just one of the models that we're looking at. I'm going to stop this at noon today, and again, you see most of the rain again is not all that strong. But I want to focus on this little line here coming up out of the Greenville, Spartanburg area. By 2 o'clock, that's now up towards Hickory, Lincolnton, Shelby, and this becomes quite strong, we think, as we get towards 2 o'clock. And again, this model might be a little bit slow, but maybe not by much. And then by 3, 4 o'clock, this is right on top of I-85, and this could be potentially damaging wind and maybe even perhaps an isolated tornado as it gets into that more unstable environment east of I-85. And then we'll start to dry out as we go into the late afternoon and into the evening hours. Temperatures right now, they're mostly in the 40s and 50s, so that's not very warm and unstable, but notice how it's 61 here in Lancaster, and that warm air is going to get drawn northward in advance of the front, so we do think that we'll make a run into the lower 70s with, again, a warm afternoon and thunderstorms in the forecast. Once this moves on by, we will start to see some drier conditions. Overnight, partly cloudy skies down into the 40s. There still might be 1 or 2 showers around for the morning and midday hours tomorrow, but we're back into the 50s here for highs, so it's a much cooler air mass, and that's going to take us right into the upcoming weekend. As we head towards Saturday, the first day of spring, we're looking at temperatures in the 50s with a chilly breeze, and then closer to 60 here on Sunday. If you want warmer weather, we think that's back in the forecast here for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of next week. So again, right now, Abby, no watches or warnings, but that could change, very much subject to change over the next 1 to 2 hours, and that threat will be with us at least through the middle, if not late afternoon hours.
Okay, so again, for our viewers, the biggest concern here is the afternoon hours, is what you're telling us.
And damaging wind is probably the biggest issue, of course, with the afternoon commute. Wet roads, that never goes together here in Charlotte, but yes, that's what we're looking at going into the afternoon hours.
All right, Al, I know you'll be tracking it for us. Thank you. Yep. Now, we do have our teams out in the field right now capturing all of this in real time for us. Let's start with our Liliana Pearson. Liliana, you've been out checking the conditions all morning long, and I actually saw on your Twitter page you showed us that there was an overturned tractor trailer as well at some point, I think on Interstate 77. So how have things changed in the last couple of hours?
Hi, Abby. One of the hard things about monitoring today's conditions is that there isn't a ton of consistency among it. Earlier today, we had a pretty steady drizzle. And then just about an hour ago, when I was driving around just north of the metro downtown Charlotte area, I would actually run into a couple pockets of heavier rain where you really had to bump up those windshield wipers to make sure you could see where you're going. And then now, nothing really falling, but you can see behind me just how dense this fog is. Some people might be familiar. Behind me, typically here, you can see a beautiful shot of downtown Charlotte. Now all you have is the fog. You might be able to see just a few little trees here, just to give you an idea of how thick this fog is that's hanging out in the air right now. Like you mentioned, driving around earlier, I did see an overturned semi. I went to check that out, and we were told that one person was pinned in that accident and was taken to the hospital with serious injuries. We do know right now that the ramp for I-85 northbound to I-77 northbound is shut down. When I was there just about half an hour ago, they hadn't towed that semi yet. They were continuing to clean up the area, keeping that shut down and traffic away from it, so people were having to find alternate routes, but traffic didn't seem too backed up. I am going to be hanging out outside for the next couple of hours. I'm going to be coming back to you guys at noon. I'll be bringing you the latest updates as conditions continue to unfold. In Charlotte, I'm Liliana Pearson, WBTV, on your side.
All right, Liliana, thank you. Now we do want to take a look at some of the damage in other states from this same storm system as it swept across the south before making its way to us. This right here, you can't really see much, but it is drone footage from Silas, Alabama. Better shot for you right there. You can see tornado activity crossing the roads and taking out trees. There was also power flashes concern in this video. This was taken yesterday, and we do want you to take a look at this video as well, taken by Central Alabama Electric Cooperative in Dallas County. And you could see the winds during the tornado warning were so strong, it picked up a metal boat and wrapped it around a tree. Now, I looked to see if there were any injuries. I didn't see any reports of that, but we, of course, will update you if that changes. Now, neighbors in Alabama and Georgia aren't the only ones waking up to damage from this system. Several states across the southeast were hit hard. Naomi Ruckham shows us more.
New video from Alabama shows a massive twister touching down, knocking out trees in its path. The storm so strong, it caused power flashes as it crossed the road. From Texas to Georgia, weather watches and warnings became tornadoes and violent storms. This chicken farm in Mississippi was torn to pieces after a tornado destroyed every building on the property. In Tuscaloosa, Alabama, hundreds of college students were forced to shelter in place as storms moved through, while others, like Jennifer Patterson, lost their homes in the storm.
Everything I worked hard for is gone.
As the storms moved in, she took shelter in a ravine behind her home, holding on tight to a tree in her backyard.
All I could do was just say, Jesus, watch over me, Jesus, watch over me. And then it just kept going and going and going.
In Mississippi, people gathered at evacuation shelters to wait out the storms.
There's no safe room in the mobile home, and I have no safe room outside. So we felt like this was the safest place for us to be.
All across the South, schools shut down, calling off in-person classes. And in Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, mass COVID-19 vaccination sites were closed due to heavy wind and rain. But in Louisiana, this rainbow filled the sky, a sign that for some, the storm has passed. For others in the southeast, though, more rough weather is forecast for today. Naomi Ruckham, CBS News.
Now, the Weather Service is also evaluating how many tornadoes touched down across the south so far. Now, again, that storm system headed toward us right now, and you can see there is a lot of green on the map. We are anticipating a lot of rain and showers heading into our area into the afternoon hours. So some people in the South Carolina area are worried that they're going to actually face another storm like they did around this time last year. Let's take a listen.
Good many nights, that's the first thing I think about when I go to bed. You know, I've been through a tornado, and it was, it was awful because, the kids, they got hurt up pretty bad. And, I had broke ribs and broke vertebrates and cut a piece of my ear off, and I had a collapsed lung, and we spent some time in the hospital.
Almost 1 year ago, an EF3 tornado hit Orangeburg County in South Carolina. who we just heard from, Annette Spires. She survived the deadly storm, but as she just said, it's still something that weighs heavy on her heart today. And we're also hearing from a little girl who survived that tornado. Listen to how she describes the moment it hit her home.
The only thing I could feel was the house turning over, and I tried to pull the cover over my head, but it was too short. And by the time I tried, it was long, and the tornado had slammed the trailer down, and I could feel the thing falling on me.
The Emergency Services Office in Orangeburg County is bringing in extra emergency dispatchers in expectation of more calls today. It is also having local first responders prepare their vehicles and maximize their manpower. Of course, we are going to keep you updated about today's thunderstorms. Our team of meteorologists working hard to bring you certified, most accurate forecasts and prepare you for any severe weather that is headed your way. Plus, our Storm 3 will continue to check the roadways throughout the day, and our team will alert you to any weather-related incidents. You can also keep track of it all on the First Alert Weather app. You can set alerts on your phone and get to know all of the information about the forecast specific to your area. And all you have to do is download the WBTV Weather app. All right, thank you so much for joining us for this WBTV News Now update. We are back at noon with more.